Los Angeles.
Coming up on NBA Today, our exclusive conversation with Lakers superstar Luka Doncic. Hear what his thoughts are on chasing his first MVP award. Plus, the Bulls, they're turning back the clock behind a certain star. And what's wrong with the Cavaliers? Perk, he tells us who needs to be examined. Also, KG United. And it feels so good. Shams is here with the new details on his new role and why it took so long. NBA Today starts right now. We begin our show with some breaking news. The WNBPA Executive Committee has been authorized to call a strike when necessary. This was breaking moments ago. Per the union, 98% of players voted yes, and 93% of players participated in the vote. So this is important, I think. Here is the entire statement from the Players Association. Quote, "The players have spoken. Through a decisive vote with historic participation, our membership has authorized the PA's executive committee to call a strike when necessary. The players' decision is an unavoidable response, they say, to the state of negotiations with the WNBA and its teams. Time and again, the players' thoughtful and reasonable approach has been met by the WNBA and its teams with a resistance to change and a recommitment to the same provisions that have unfairly restricted players for nearly 3 decades. The players' vote is neither a call for an immediate strike nor an intention to pursue one. Rather, it is an empathetic and emphatic affirmation of the players' confidence in their leadership and their unwavering solidarity against ongoing efforts to divide, conquer, and undervalue them. Let it be known, the players remain united, resolute, and prepared to fight for their value and the future of the league." Wow. Okay, so there is a lot there as we welcome in our women's basketball reporter, Kendra Andrews. Kendra, let's just boil this down. How likely is it that the WNBA players go on strike here?
Well, Malika, it's certainly a possibility. This is something that I've been told has been being considered for a while now, going back to before that latest extension was agreed upon right after Thanksgiving. Look, the players have said time and time again that they feel that these negotiations aren't going the way that they want to. In the latest reported proposal from the league, they did offer a $1 million max salary, which with the revenue sharing system they proposed would go up to 1.2. The players, they still aren't quite satisfied with that. So they're looking at all possibilities of how they can get these conversations, these negotiations where they want to be. The next deadline for the CBA is January 9th. The other day, we even heard Adam Silver, the NBA commissioner, said that he and Deputy Commissioner Mark Tatum are in a position where they're happy to step in to the negotiating room right now. So everything right now is on the table just from both sides to try and come to an agreement, maybe to avoid a strike, possibly avoid a lockout down the road. Right. But as you just read that statement from the Players Association, it's very much on the table right now.
Yeah, so 93% of players participated, 98% voted yes here is what the PA is saying. And again, what that means is they voted yes to have this option, not voted yes to enact it right now. So I want to bring in Shanae Agumake here into this conversation because, Shanae, I want to walk through the players' strategy here. Nneka, your sister, is the president of the WNBPA. Do the players actually want to strike?
So this basically means that this is not calling for a strike now or in the future, but it does demonstrate two very important things, that the players are united more than ever before. I've mentioned multiple times here on ESPN, I was a part of the last executive committee, and it was hard to get 98 or 93% of participation. They got that. Almost every player in the WNBA participated in that. On top of it, the fact that 98% said yes, we trust our leadership, that if the circumstance means we have to make a decision, we're standing united. That is huge. That's the first thing. The second thing I think people should understand is the reason why you get here is the second point, that they feel like the negotiations have not gone in a way that is meaningful for them to honestly have conversations to move forward on the issues. Forward on issues like revenue share, having a fair share as the league grows, the players go, you know, especially when it comes to salary. Facilities, all these things that they're negotiating, they feel like that they're not making the progress that is good and fair in a negotiation. So now that has allowed them to all stand united and say, hey, we understand that we're at the moment where you have to be able to push forward, and this shows that we are one in making this decision if it comes down to it.
So that when necessary clause is really when and if necessary right now, because that option still remains on the table. Kendra, I'm curious, if that strike does come to fruition, because now the players have the opportunity to, if they decide that this is the best pathway forward, what could that actually look like? How long could it last, and how would it affect the next WNBA season?
Well, the WNBA is different from other leagues, right, Malika, where they have quite some time before their Malika, the expansion draft for the Portland Fire, the Toronto Tempo, that's still, those rules are collectively bargained. So we can't have an expansion draft until that's agreed upon. Free agency, that's supposed to begin mid-late January. That can't happen until this happens. So there is some time, but all these other parts of the WNBA calendar are going to get pushed back. So we could be looking at a very condensed ramp up to the season. I just want to say one more thing, Malika. A lot of these top players around the W are right now gathered in Miami for Media Day at Unrivaled. Unrivaled tips off January 5th, and I asked a couple players, Paige Beckers, Nafisa Collier, Skylar Diggins, what does having all these players in the same place allow for them to do in these negotiations? And their main point was just be on the same page, be able to communicate, ask questions, make sure that we are all in unity. So to Shanae's point about having that 98%, these players are all in the same place, having conversations in person with each other versus being spread out internationally in their home markets during a regular off season. And so I think that that's allowing them to really remain in lockstep during these conversations.
Yeah, and that could be why, part of the reason why we're seeing this, as Shanae said, unprecedented turnout for a vote like this. Again, those let's circle back next year emails are going to have to get a little bit more pressing, because January 9th is going to come quick, and that is the next deadline we are looking at here for the collective bargaining agreement. I have reached out for the WNBA for comment, and we'll certainly update you when we hear from the league side on all of this as well. Kendra, thank you so very much. Turning to the NBA now. Last night, the Chicago Bulls, they got back their winning ways in the Windy City against Donovan Mitchell and the Cavaliers. Kendrick Perkins, Tim Bontemps, here is how they got it done. It was really a giddy up here, Shanae.
Yeah, it was. I mean, he had his way, especially we know he's one of the most prolific passers in the NBA, but when he's knocking down shots, yikes, that's the scouting report.
And he definitely was on his high horse last night, because he was cooking them in all phases.
Giddy, he had 13 triple-doubles since joining the Bulls last season. That is the third most in Bulls history, behind Jordan and Pippen. That's pretty esteemed company to be in. And previously on NBA Today, Perk had some words for the Cavaliers.
In this short season, the biggest disappointment in the NBA.
Okay, so yesterday, Perk, you said they'd been the biggest disappointment in the NBA. We wondered about the Clippers, but the Cavaliers, they needed this win.
They did. Look, men lie, numbers, women lie, but these numbers in the film don't. Look at this. Are you talking about a team with championship aspirations? Look at this. Look at this transition defense. After a made basket. This is a made basket. No floor balance, no effort, just not engaged at all. This was embarrassing.
I mean, that's the word for it, Perk. This is embarrassing. This is an embarrassing loss. The Bulls came into this game losing 8 of their last 9. They lost to the Pelicans twice. They lost to the Nets. They lost to some of the worst teams in the league, and they made the Cavs look like a team that was one of the worst teams in the league in this game last night.
At this point last year, Tim, the Cavaliers, they were running away with the Eastern Conference. They raced off to a conference leading 24-4 start. They're 9 games off that pace this year. They're 15-13. That puts them 9th in the conference. So, Shanae, what the heck is going on with Cleveland?
I thought you were going to say, what the hell? What's going on? You know how they have Spotify Wrapped? Well, I'm going to do the Cleveland Cavaliers Wrap.
Okay.
A year in review for the Cleveland Cavaliers. Now, on October 30th last year, the Cavs took sole possession of the top spot in the East last season. But this year, it's been a little bit of a nightmare before Christmas. They are 9th in the East, dealing with injuries, struggling where they should be succeeding. And I say that for a reason, because they're one of the best, at least last year, best three-point shooting teams. They were top 3 second last season, shooting 38% in field goal percentage. This year, they're bottom 3 in threes. This is not good. This is unacceptable. They actually shoot 37% on open threes, which is yikes. Major yikes territory. So Donovan Mitchell, he averages 30 a game. He's going to draw 2. This right here is a zone matchup. You get to the middle, that's great, because then you have your shooters become zone busters. But unfortunately, Darius Garland is not shooting a great percentage, 29% from 3. You got to knock those down so they can move outside of the zone. Again, Don is going to attract a crowd. Here, 2 people, the entire squad's eyes are on him. kicks it out to the corner. DeAndre Hunter, three-point shooting, 30%. Those numbers have to go up to get back to their identity. That is where the Cleveland Cavaliers have struggled, especially on open threes. So hopefully they can fix that. So it's no longer a nightmare. It's more of like a better dream going into the new year.
Right. And Bontemps, you mentioned that the stretch here for the Cavaliers, because it's not isolated to this one loss. It's concerning the quality of opponents that they've faced recently and those outcomes.
Yeah, I mean, look, the Cavs have been not exactly playing a murderer's row lately. They lost to the Hornets on Monday in overtime, but they didn't score in overtime. And then on Friday, they played the Washington Wizards, the worst team in the league. They needed 24 points in the second half of that game from Donovan Mitchell to even beat the Wizards, right? As Perk said, you know, you could talk about the Clippers maybe in the same conversation with the Cavs, but this was a team that was the favorite to win the Eastern Conference coming into the season. They're in the play-in, and yes, they've had injuries. Yes, Evan Mobley's out right now, but this does not look like a team that has any real chance of being any kind of threat in the East, and the East is as wide open a conference as we've ever seen. That's not acceptable for a team that's in the second apron right now.
Imagine the league being a Western movie, right? Being a Western movie. And the Cavaliers have one role. Their role is to lay down and play dead. They can't even do that. They can't play dead in a Western movie. That's how horrible they have been this season. And when I say horrible, because I don't want to hear about how emotional they have been. I don't want to hear about how stressful it was this offseason. This is not a championship caliber team that looked like they were stressed out. And why do you see Donovan Mitchell and Darius Garland there? Because I'm a strong believer, okay, that with this small backcourt, they can't win a championship with this small backcourt. Here's why. They're 13th overall defensively. When those two guys are on the floor, they drop to the bottom 5. So they can't get it done. And so, again, when you look at the Cavs, you're looking at them, and I'm like, where's the leadership?
But as Bontemps pointed out, they don't have a ton of options because they are in the second apron, Perk, as you know. So what are the Cavaliers looking to do and be as they march towards February and the trade deadline, Shams?
Malika, the Cavaliers have been getting a ton of incoming calls on their players and trades, but this is a franchise that's been resistant to making a major move. They want to see as much time at full strength as they can possibly get. And we've seen Sam Merrill, Max Strus miss significant periods of the season. When I talk to rival teams, Donovan Mitchell and Evan Mobley are really the two untouchable players that you think of on this roster. There's a lot of talent here on this team. So depending on how this next month goes for the Cavaliers, that's going to shape their activity level at the deadline. And you think about silver linings, though, Jalen Tyson is a player that we've seen emerge as a starter for this team. His points per game has gone up 10 points since his rookie year. He's now in his second year. So his emergence could also play a factor in how they look at their wing and their guard depth at the deadline.
Yeah, this is a team that is not measured during the regular season. It's measured in the postseason, but the regular season is how you get there, right? And right now, that is not a test that they are acing. Hey, still to come on NBA Today, let's get to Klay and the Mavs. Return to the Bay again this Christmas. So stick around for the inside story of how his time with Steph ended. And Perk, could they ever get back together? Plus, Dylan the Villain strikes again. Sinead, you had more words. It's been a busy morning. Earlier today, Shams reported that Hall of Famer Kevin Garnett is reuniting with the Minnesota Timberwolves and the Lynx in a new all-encompassing role. It involves business, community efforts, and of course, because it's KG, you got to get some content development in there as well. So, Shams, what more can you tell us on this reunion between KG, one of the greatest players in that organization, and the Timberwolves?
Malika, the Kevin Garnett-Minnesota Timberwolves relationship has essentially been fractured ever since he retired in 2016 because of his fallout with Glenn Taylor, the old owner. But Alex Rodriguez and Mark Lowry, the new governors there, they made it a priority. They were very aggressive in making sure Kevin Garnett was brought back to this organization. They've had dinners, they've had meetings ever since they bought into the Timberwolves in 2021. Now the sides are actively working on a date, most importantly, to retire that number 21 jersey in Minneapolis. It's trending more toward next season for that jersey retirement. But you think about the changes in the investment Mark Lowry and Alex Rodriguez have put into this organization. Big money on Tim Connelly, the president of operations there in basketball. They have plans for a new arena, state-of-the-art arena in Minneapolis downtown over the next decade, and now bringing back a franchise legend in Kevin Garnett.
One of the greatest power forwards to ever do it. In that Minnesota jersey, we were enemies. When he was with the Celtics, we became family. And it was certain, I got so many stories on KG, but the one particular story, after we won the championship in 2008, 2009, I remember I was having the best start of the season of my career, and I was knocking at the door of being an all-star. But we was going through a rough patch at a point, and we had a coming to Jesus meeting when we landed in Boston. And that's when guys were addressing guys playing with agendas. Well, damn it, I had an agenda. I was trying to get to the All-Star game. And KG called me out on the plane. I was pissed off about it. So I left the meeting, walked off the plane, and he was walking behind me like, you gonna just walk off from me? You gonna turn your back on me? We're supposed to be brothers. So I ignored him, right? And next day, I'm at the practice facility. I'm under the basket, and I'm just getting some work in or whatever. He walks on the floor. He like, hey, bro, you my little brother. That's my bad. I should want you to be able to get to the All-Star game. I should want the best for you. You should want that. That's on me. But it just goes to show you who KG is, right? We see the rah-rah KG, but he actually is a great human being, one of the greatest teammates I ever had, my brother for life, and Butu brother, we forever tied together.
And you know what's cool? I love it when you can learn, when you have positions like this where the players that are active can really use that resource in real time. Because they're oftentimes legends of the game, but being able to, I think a lot of people say this about KG, he respects the game. He's passionate about it. He's passionate about the next generation. He's passionate about sharing his knowledge, so I'm happy he has this position now.
Well, the Timberwolves, certainly this is well-deserved. They have a tough task coming up here as they face the Oklahoma City Thunder coming up tomorrow. But tonight, the Lakers, they face the Jazz. Luka Doncic has been off to a torrid start. He leads the league in scoring with a career high just under 35 points a game. And with numbers like that, could an MVP award follow? Well, our senior writer, Dave McMenamin, caught up with Luka this week. Here's their conversation.
How are you? Good to see you. Come here. You got a seat for you right here.
Quiet on the set.
This is your highest scoring average thus far, and you've obviously scored a bunch already. Is this the best basketball of your career thus far?
I don't think so. I think I have to play better. I feel like I can play better, like a lot of nights. So I don't know if it's the best basketball I've played just because of points, but you know, I feel like I can do way more stuff.
What are the things that you're asking of yourself?
I think for the start of the season, I was playing great defense, kind of trying to get back to that, limit my turnovers, be more efficient, get more rebounds, get more assists. All that I feel like I can do a lot better.
Obviously, you and Austin are such big parts of this team. LeBron is too. No one really knows how the end of his career is going to go. He might not even know right now. What's it been like being a teammate with him this year?
Just insane that he's still playing the highest level, 23rd season. It's been great, you know. Obviously, all his habits are what allow him to be here, but just playing with him, looking what he does at this stage is amazing.
In Toronto tonight, the Lakers come to town, but they'll do it without Luka Doncic, who's out for the birth of his second child in Slovenia.
Not that long ago, you were in Slovenia. You and your fiance welcomed in your second daughter, Olivia. What was it like going through that whirlwind in the middle of an NBA season?
Well, it was a lot, not gonna lie, but you know, I was just happy to be there when my daughter was born. You don't want to miss that moment. So yeah, just being a dad, it's awesome, especially two girls. I said this some time ago when my first one was born, you know, they don't care whatever you play good, you're bad. They're always the same, you know, they're happy when you're home. And that's what's the best. Just want to be a good dad, want to spend time with them, and that's it. That's life.
You haven't won MVP yet, but you've done just about everything else a player could do through this start of their career. How do you feel like you fit into the conversation for that award this year?
I feel like I'm big, but obviously my first focus is obviously championship. I don't try to think that much of individual awards, but obviously anybody plays basketball wants the MVP. Obviously I want it, but it's going to come with our team winning. So first of all, trying to focus on that, on every game, trying to win every game.
Great stuff there from Dave and Luka. We're going to stick with the Lakers because we love some holiday pettiness here. And in case you missed it, the Lakers' last game against the Suns. A lot of back and forth, right, between LeBron and Dillon Brooks. Yes. They both got texts. Brooks was ejected for chest-bumping LeBron after that clutch three. And the Lakers eventually won. And when LeBron was fouled shooting a three with 3 seconds left, that's how they won the game. And yesterday, Brooks still talking about the matchup.
I don't know. I guess he's a social media junkie. He be all over the social, so he be seeing, I guess, what I'm saying. And when I go out there and he thinks, like I told you, he thinks that people should think a way about him, not say nothing about him, or, you know, play a certain way. I'm not going to play that way. So he gets in his moods or in his modes or whatever it is, and I'm all for that. I wish we let him shoot that shot and that would have been an air ball.
Okay.
Yo, I love it. Best individual rivalry in the NBA. And guess what? They're both represented by Clutch Sports.
Well, Chris Lindsay
We're saying that's the best rivalry in the NBA.
Agrees with you.
Name me one.
Dylan and LeBron, they say they're always going to be funny. Fans can keep the conversation going with the QR code, and you can jump in there on that conversation. And maybe say Klay Thompson making another return to the Bay on Christmas Day. Our reporters Anthony Slater and Tim McMahon, they have a piece up right now on ESPN.com, and it reflects back on their breakup with Golden State, and they join the show now. Gentlemen, thank you so much for taking the time. I really appreciate it. Slater, I want to start with you because you have been reporting on this story for over a year now. What do you think is the most important takeaway on the dissolving of that relationship?
Yeah, I'd even go back several years because I think the breakup started, probably the summer of 2023 when that extension doesn't get done. But I think that, a big takeaway would be that some of the frost of the breakup has thawed a little bit. And we all know, a lot of the ires about the business side from Klay's side towards management and ownership and not getting, his contract done. But Steph Curry and Draymond Green, we, as we reported, went to dinner last year. They played one game in Dallas. It was in February. They went over to his house. Steph said he got him and Draymond an Uber over there. And it was almost cathartic to have a night of, dinner. And they, Steph was on his putting green and they were playing chess. And by the end of the night, it just felt like, it was the next stage of accepting it. And that's been part of the thawing that we're talking about.
Yeah, you start the piece off with such a beautiful moment when Cannon Curry goes, Klay Thompson, in the hallway. And when Steph watches Klay now, he has to remind his young son, no, we're not teammates anymore. And I thought that was really poignant because the reality, Tim, is now Klay is on the Dallas Mavericks. And there's so much chatter about what direction this franchise is going to go and what's his future with Dallas. What's his mindset there?
Howdy, partners. Look, Klay Thompson came to Dallas to play for a contender, to start and get spoon-fed open threes by Luka Doncic. Obviously, none of those things are happening right now. None of those things are the reality of the situation. But Klay, honestly, is in a good state of mind right now. There were questions when they made the move to bring him off the bench earlier this season. How was Klay going to handle it? And honestly, it's been smooth. There's been no pouting. There's been no complaining. He's been a complete pro. And he said he hasn't felt like he's been chasing the ghosts of the past like he was in Golden State, especially that last year. And Klay understands, hey, he's in the twilight of his career, but he's embracing the opportunity to still contribute. He compared himself to Byron Scott during Kobe Bryant's rookie year. Like, he's embracing the opportunity to help Cooper Flagg as he starts what's going to be a long journey. So he's making the best of the situation. Now, if there was a chance for Klay to move to a contender, would he welcome it? I feel pretty strongly, yes, he would.
Well, could that contender maybe be the Golden State Warriors, right? They haven't looked like it for a large part of this season, Slater, but is a reunion still possible? Is that in the cards in the future?
I think eventually, but I would not expect it currently this season. I don't think anybody anticipates the Warriors, and from my conversation, shopping in the nostalgia aisle right now under his current contract at this current moment when there's urgency. But, Steph Curry compared, this situation a little bit to how Scottie Pippen's, end in Chicago was unceremonious, and his hope that maybe that can get healed. And I think about another player, Dwayne Wade. Remember how he had a bad breakup with the Heat, went to some other teams, and then did have kind of a final run in Miami. And I think that is possible, but I think we're talking maybe a year or two down the line. And the one thing I did learn in this piece is, Steph Curry would probably have to be the one pushing it because that's the voice that Klay will always listen to.
Well, there are a bunch of Golden State fans watching right now that all they heard was yes, eventually here, Anthony. So I appreciate you giving that piece of hope to that franchise because, as Draymond said, he always envisioned it being the three of them riding off into the sunset. Gentlemen, this piece was fantastic. It gave me all the feels. Thank you so much for penning it and for joining us. Now, Steph, Klay, and Draymond. They won 4 titles together, of course. That's tied with Tim Duncan, Manu Ginobili, Tony Parker for the most titles by an all-NBA trio over the last 50 seasons. And there was a lot in the story. I really encourage everyone to read it because, again, it's going to make you smile. But if you're Klay, would you want to go back to Golden State?
Yes. But after there's a circumstance, because one thing that has been clear through that phenomenal story is that he still wants to win and that he came to Dallas expecting to play with Luka and to pursue a championship, which we know Dallas was, they made it to the finals. So they were close and he wanted to be one of those pieces that sets them over the edge. So it may not obviously be Dallas. It might be elsewhere, but the final stop, I think it would be picturesque. And I know you're being all apolitical as someone who grew up in the Bay, but I do think that's what the fans want, because in this story, it talks about how they see him playing. It's like, he's supposed to be with us.
Yeah.
They'll see him draw off with another team. It's like, who's not?
Yeah. Why aren't they having his back?
Why are they having his back? And no matter what team he's on, he's so associated after winning 4 championships with the Warriors. I'm happy he still feels like he's got gas in the tank to pursue another one, but I hope at the end of the day, they bring it all back together.
I just want to see Klay this year on the playoff team, right? On the playoff team. I think us watching this Klay Thompson with the Dallas Mavericks, this role has been too big for him. That's not why they brought him in. They brought him in to play alongside Luka and Kyrie before Luka was traded. Now all of a sudden Kyrie goes out and then you have a young Cooper Flag. He has a bigger role. I like to see him go somewhere where he has a lesser role, where all his job is to be a spacer, right, and be able to help guys get over the hump. So that's what I would like to see short term for Klay Thompson.
What's the likelihood that Perk is going to see what he would like to see and the Mavericks are going to move on from Klay Thompson here?
Malika, Anthony Davis, Klay Thompson, Daniel Gafford, those are the players that the Mavericks will be exploring and taking trade calls on. And for Klay Thompson's perspective, he's been playing a lot better the last 15 games, shooting close to 40% from 3, and that helps that trade value because, from my understanding, as I reported last week, Klay Thompson wants to play for a title contender moving forward. The Mavericks were supposed to be that. Like Tim McMahon said, he was supposed to play with Luka Doncic, but also Kyrie Irving and get passes from these guys. That hasn't happened. This is a play-in tournament team. They're going to be wide open on the trade market.
And not to be ignored, as a part of the piece, he's found a little piece, right? Because I think part of the tension was in Golden State maybe having to go to the bench, but it seems like in the shift coming off the bench, he feels a little bit more comfortable. And it's a tough pill to swallow as a professional when you're an all-star, when you're a future Hall of Famer. So I do think that has helped take pressure off other teams looking to explore.
But this also really isn't the team that he came to play with without Luka Doncic and without Kyrie Irving. But Kyrie, he's still, making his presence felt here. Did you guys see this video from Mavs practice?
I did. Watch it.
So the robot comes to practice, and Kyrie just gives him a little bump there.
But it wasn't little, sis.
Blocker charge.
I think that was a flop.
You think that was a flop?
Well, the robot's not moving anymore.
He needs a little help up there.
I know.
How much do you think that robot costs?
Was the robot talking?
I would say anything.
I didn't hear it.
The robot was dancing.
I heard it online. They said 100,000.
No way.
Okay. Yeah, 100,000 for shoved by Kyrie Irving.
He got it.
The Mavs, they will play in our NBA on Christmas Day annual tradition. The Cavs and Knicks, of course, start off the day. That's at noon Eastern, and they have a real-time animated version of that game. That's on ESPN2 and Disney+. And then it's the Spurs and Thunder, the Mavs, Warriors, Rockets, Lakers, Timberwolves, Nuggets is the nightcap. It's now time for Shoot Your Shot. It's brought to you by DraftKings Sportsbook. So here's who's Perk and Shanae are looking at tonight. Perk,
I love my pick.
The Lakers and the Jazz. You're looking at Luka. And Shanae loves her Perk.
No Austin Reeves tonight, maybe. I mean, Luka in Utah.
Supposed to be back by Christmas for Austin Reeves.
But what I'm saying, the points are going to be up there. I'm going with the over 36 and a half.
How about this? I know Shea averages a pretty penny, but that revenge game coming off a loss, someone's going to take something personal. Give me SGA.
30.5 over the Clippers, and he may even need 3 quarters to do it. All right, on DraftKings Sportsbook, new customers bet $5. They get $200 in bonus bets if your bet wins. Download the app and use the promo code SCREEN when you sign up. Hey, coming up, how about my conversation with Chet Holmgren? I asked him to describe his teammates in one word. Shanae, one word for Alex Caruso.
Hustle.
He went with a Domir adjective.
Oh, I know that.
Competing is trying not to repeat last season, but it's always about, for us, trying to get better every single game.
There's SGA. Extra cut for Holmgren. Levitation at the rim. I think the key for us is just to be present. We're not going into it acting like we were defending champions. I think we have the confidence knowing we can do it again.
Absolute perfection and brilliance from the reigning MVP.
We have to continue to get better through our experiences. If we do that, we'll be in good shape.
Well, certainly it's been a special start to the season for OKC, led by the reigning MVP in Shea. He's gone for 25 on 50% shooting in 10 straight games. He's one shy of tying Michael Jordan for the longest streak by a guard in NBA history. And the Thunder are 24-2 behind some elite defense here. OKC, nearly 8 points per 100 possessions, better than Detroit's second-best defense in the league. And they lead the league in basically every defensive category. Now, that Thunder defense is so good in part because of Chet Holmgren and his rim protection. He holds opponents to just 50% shooting at the rim. That's the third best in the league among qualified players. And recently, I caught up with the Thunder big man.
It is a complete obliteration. The champions looking better than ever.
This is going to be a 24-1 start, which matches the best start in NBA history.
You're on pace to eclipse the Golden State Warriors record, but I'm curious, how often does the phrase 74 wins, has that even been said in the locker room?
Not very often.
Yeah.
We're more so just talking about improving, what we have to do to improve every single day. I feel like trying to worry about that too much right now is just a distraction. It can limit us from chasing as much improvement as we can make.
Here's the matchup we all want to see. Goes quick against Holmgren and slammed it home.
They said it's rivalry week, Jonesy. Uh-oh.
Oh, Wemby tried to take his soul away. This is starting to get really spicy underneath.
You all play the San Antonio Spurs on Christmas Day. You play 3 times in the month of December. Do you consider yourself and Victor Wembanyama a rivalry in the league?
I don't think it's ever been up to players or teams to declare rivalries, so you're asking the wrong person.
Have you all ever actually spoken?
Not a full sentence, I don't think. But like, not in like a, don't take that and run with it in the wrong way, media. It was, I don't know, just never really crossed paths.
I'm going to mention some of your teammates. First word that comes to mind. Ready?
All right.
Shea.
Style.
J-Dub.
Style.
Isaiah Hartenstein.
Strong.
Not style. Lou Dort.
I can't say style for everybody. I got to switch it up. Strong.
Strong style. Alex Caruso.
Ball. No, that's my guy.
Hear that, Richard Jefferson?
Defense. Yeah.
Bald and defense. AJ Mitchell.
Star.
I love it. Yeah. He absolutely is. You said style for a couple of the guys. Who is the best dresser on the team? And you can include yourself here.
That's like the GOAT conversation. It's a disservice to everybody to do comparisons. Everybody has their own style, their own swag.
Yep.
Everybody wears it different. Everybody has their own confidence in their own right, and I think it's beautiful.
I thought it was beautiful when I said Alex Caruso, and he said ball.
Hold up, time out. I would like to take an official review.
Yeah.
You played the game with Chet. I want to play the game with you.
Okay.
Okay, so one word to describe all of us. Starting.
Wait, collectively or
No, one at a time. We're going to start with Perk. One word for Perk.
Big? No, his name is Big Perk.
That works.
His name is
that works.
Big Perk.
Okay, my turn.
Sister.
Hey. Shams.
Newsbreaker.
I don't want to know what mine's going to be. I'll take
Tim.
Good times.
There you go. I'll take that.
Point guard. Point.
Perk, exceptional.
QB1.
Perk, hard to believe that was already 8 years ago. But we have breaking news here on NBA Today, this time out of Atlanta. Shams, what more can you tell us?
Malika, Hawks all-star guard Trae Young will make his return to the lineup tonight against the Charlotte Hornets. He's been out since October 29th with a sprained MCL. This is a Hawks team that went 13-9 without Young in the lineup, but they're excited to get him back. You've seen Jalen Johnson emerge as a star in his absence. Zachary Sachet, Dyson Daniels, Okongwu there. They've got a deep team. Now they're bringing back Trae Young into the lineup tonight.
Yeah, Sham said Jalen Johnson's been awesome. I think we might be talking about him in a minute. But this team has really struggled in the half court without Trae Young. He's still an elite passer and shot creator. Dyson Daniels, Jalen Johnson, those guys are still working into being able to be elite offensive creators for other guys. So we'll see how the Hawks can do with Trae out there. They've lost 4 of their last 6. They've scuffled a little bit, fallen back into the play-in mix in the Eastern Conference. But getting Trae out there, it'll be interesting to see with 6 weeks to go before the trade deadline what this team can look like with their all-star guard in the mix.
The Hawks get their all-star back. Again, he's been out since October. And speaking of all-star, 2026 NBA all-star voting, it's already open. Fans, they have until January the 14th to vote on the East and West starters. Now, remember, there's a new format this year. 3 teams facing off. It's a little bit of a round-robin tournament. 2 squads representing the U.S., and then there's 1 representing the world. They're going to play 4 12-minute games. The top 2 teams, they meet in the title game. Is that confusing? Maybe a little bit. As for the level of competition in recent All-Star games, check out what 15-time All-Star Kevin Durant said on the Unguarded podcast.
I think it's time for big perks, big lists.
Damn it, it's not your list. It's Big Perks list. There's actually rules to this, okay? You will speak when spoken to. Give me some energy. Bam. That's it? Bam! 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 Put it up there. It's not your list. It's mine. It's not KD, damn it, it's KP. Big Perk. It's my time. You know what? And it's a celebration, y'all, because this is the anniversary. My 4th year anniversary of being an all-star voter. I just confirmed that yesterday. Okay?
Congratulations,
so
I guess.
yeah, give me a round of applause. Hey, so look, it's time for a Big Perks, big list of first-time all-stars this season. All right, Tim, this is your first time on this set.
All right, let's do it.
Don't make it your last. You will bring the energy that is needed. Otherwise, you would not be invited back. So
Putting a lot of pressure on me, Perk.
Come on right here. You know
Threat.
All right.
You know how it goes.
Bam.
Bam. There we go. Impressive. Jamal Murray. Denver is number 2 in the Western Conference. The man is averaging over 24 points a game, shooting 50% from the field and 47% from the 3. Averaging a career high, I believe he will be a first-time All-Star this year. I do. Shams, you called it earlier in the season?
Hey,
right.
respect.
Malika.
Hey.
Don't leave it.
Tonight, come up here, girl. I need some energy. Bam! Put it up there. You won't be invited back. Jalen Duren. The Detroit Pistons are number 1 in the Eastern Conference right now. Second best record in the league. The man is averaging 18 points, 11 rebounds. He's shooting 64% from the field. A straight-up beast down low. Very complimentary of Cade Cunningham doing this thing. Come on up here, Sean.
Hey, go for
No,
it.
you
Man, bam! Put it up there. You won't be invited back. Chet Holmgren, Malika, you just did an interview with him. The Thunder got the best record in the league. No J-Dub, no problem. Averaging 18 points. He's shooting about 40% from the 3 right now. 8 rebounds, one of the best defensive players in the game. I had to put him on this list for the first time All-Star.
Okay.
Now y'all can get it done. Malika, let me bring your energy.
Ready? 3, 2, 1.
Here we go.
Bam!
That was it for this man? Jalen Johnson, who's been balling since Trae Young's been out. Right now, holding it down for the Hawks. The man is averaging 22 points, over 10 rebounds, over 8 assists a game. And there's 7 in the Eastern Conference. He's been carrying this squad, and he's going to be a first-time All-Star. You know who coming in at number 1. Let's
Bam!
There you go. Put it up there.
We beat you. Yeah, we beat you.
I am him, Reeves. You know why? He's giving you 27 a night. That's 10th in the NBA in points per game. He's averaging over 6 assists, 13th in the league for his assists. And the